Got some 10 for the 12 out today. So, I've been noticing something lately called buybacks, which is what car dealerships do. So, I had a crazy ass story. It hasn't set right with me since. I have as you can tell, I love Rams, so I got three. And last year I traded in, I rebuild salvage cars. So I traded in a couple cars and a pretty good down payment. I bought myself a 2020 Ram 2500 Cummins. Love the truck. Drives smooth. Honestly, since I've only had second and third gens, it was like a little too smooth. It took me a while to get used to being something so comfortable. So I was talking to this truck driver today, semi truck driver, but he also has a King Ranch at 20, I believe he said at 2017. He said he paid 70 for it new. He brought it into the dealer, and then they offered him like 80 grand, which is like 10 more than what he paid for it. And that's a common thing. You get flyers in the mail. Hey, we want to buy your car, but especially now there's a shortage. So let's fast forward. It's winter time in Texas. It was like 80 degrees on Christmas, but a couple weeks before it was in the 40s. So it's really cold. And then one common thing with diesels is that they like my service truck, which is actually that truck over there. It get right down there down the hill, shuts off. I'm like, ah, fuck. So my truck shuts off, and then the water and fuel light comes on. I have never had that happen before, and I've had diesels for only about 2 years, but I've had 5 different diesels because I get something I like it, and somebody talks me and I get something else, whatever. So it stalls on me. I'm like, ah, shit. It's a 2000, so I've had some electrical problems, but the water and fuel light was coming on, so I was like, oh shit. So I go to the front, I drain the fuel filter, try to start it. It just sputters and sputters and sputters and sputters. I use my 2020, the truck that this video is about. I use that one, and then I get it, I bring it into the dealer. I'm sorry, that's further down the line. I bring it down there, I tow this truck up, which is kind of hard to do with one person, but finally got it started. And it sputters up the hill. It's not happy, and I could see some water in the fuel, right? So I ran the lift pump, dumped all the shitty fuel. I got a big ass like 6 or 7 gallon tank. Filled that bitch up. Starts good as new. I had to drain the thing off a couple times. Anyway, that's common sometimes in the real freezing weather because this is the first time my trucks have been outside. I moved out from a apartment that had an enclosed garage. Getting the same issue with my 2020. I drain the fuel thing. I even what's the word? I replace the fuel filters, which do not buy them from fucking Dodge. This is what I'm about to get into. My whole issues with the dealership. So I spent 240 bucks. I'm like, they were a little dirty. I'm like, fuck, I may as well, replace it. Same time this is happening, I'm getting a code that says DEF exhaust fault, something with a fault in the exhaust system, bring to service immediately. And I'd left my DEF a little low, so I had to I had to put that in, and apparently that'll stay on for a while. And it just said like, if you don't refill your DEF in 200 miles, your truck's gonna die. So I'm like, all right, fuck, well, I don't want that to happen. So I refilled and everything. Okay, fast forward. I bring my truck into the dealership to take care of that fucking light, and then I already taken care of that other issue because there's even a video on Ram's website like, hey, if you're getting the water and fuel shit, strain it. Okay, I go to the fucking dealership. They have my truck for about a week and a half, and then I think there was a code for water and water and fuel. That was the thing because they show you all this shit. All right, now he's telling me there's like some crystals from DEF, the diesel exhaust fluid, inside my fuel filter. I'm like, that's fucking weird because I didn't put that shit in there. So I was thinking it's some sort of just shit, something contaminated. You know, sometimes the little things, because they're right next to each other, sometimes the little things get in. But, you know, I was like, well, I don't know. I couldn't figure that out. So that he's telling me that there's DEF in there. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? How do you know there's fucking DEF in there, dude? And he said, what's on the fuel filter? I'm like, so the filter, I just changed the filter. I didn't see shit on there. That was clean ass fuel. So I'm like, all right. And then meanwhile, I'll be honest, I was taking a shit when I got all this information because the guy calls me. I was getting ready to shower. I was getting ready to work out. And he's telling me the bill for this, he says, basically they got to redo the whole, he said they got to redo the whole fuel system, like the fuel pump. He may have said the gas tank. I think he may have even said the gas tank. And then like the whole fuel system, that's basically what he's telling me. And I'm like, bro, what? And he said, I have 3, and he said something about the injectors. So I'm saying, what's going on with the injectors? You got 3 bad injectors. And I'm like, bro, I drove this thing over here, and there was no like, it's not quite like a bad spark plug in a car, but when you have a bad injector, it's like a miss, and then your acceleration feels in. It's not doing any of that. This thing runs like a fucking champ. Like I can tow with it. And then I'm like, 3 bad injectors. So, and it took me about a day to sort of put all this air, because it was the reason I'm about to get to is the shock from this was I learned that how much is the bill for this? $38,000. And the guy literally said it like it was nothing. And that's okay. Like, I don't get my feelings hurt like in car dealerships, because they'll do shit like that. Like, you'll bring in a trade-in, and they'll be like, oh, you got, okay, this truck's, I paid $4,000 for this fucking 12 valve, and it's got 150,000 on it. So look at this, a little chips paint, right? But you'll bring in a 2017, a 2018, the ones they keep bugging people to bring in. You'll bring in one of those, and then, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, there's a ding here. They devalue it the whole time. So if you ever get your feelings hurt in a dealership, like, especially if you're one of those like ego type of guys and you can admit that, like, well, what you mean? Oh, I gotta make the payment. My credit score is this, or I can pay with this in cash. You know, if you're one of those type of dudes, like, you're probably gonna be like not even listening to me anyway. But if you are, if you see yourself having an emotional reaction in a car dealership, what you need to do is you need to check yourself. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it to be an ass, bro. Like, I get it, we're guys. But what I'm saying, you should be like, man, shit, my wife's bugging. Or if your wife's sitting next to you, it's be like, this is a lot for me to think about. I just need to go grab a soda. My blood sugar is kind of low. Get the fuck out of there, and then figure out why you're having that emotional reaction. So I was starting to think about it. Like, I sort of had like a little, it felt like somebody stabbed me just a little bit when he's like 38 grand, because that truck is $50,000. And I traded in a bunch of vehicles to get this. I'm gonna make a separate video later why this truck here, my 94, it was 1/12 of what I paid. No, I'm sorry, not a 12th. It was a 1/6 of what I paid for my other truck. All right. No, wait, it was almost a 12th. My bad. So it was not, this thing, my 2020 is not 12 times more fun than this, right? But I'm not hating. I traded in 2 of my truck. I had a Mustang, my first like car, like type, you know, like fun car type of car. You know, I paid it off and everything. I traded that in, and I traded my first diesel and a big down payment to get this fucking Dodge. So, the Ram now, sorry, they don't call them Dodges anymore. And it drives great. There ain't nothing wrong. I love the truck. But it's not like, you know, it's not fucking 12 times better than this $4,000 truck. That's all I'm trying to, that's all I'm trying to say. So, that means that the truck they want for $38,000 in repairs, I could get a new one for maybe $50,000, $60,000. So I was feeling emotional. I'm like, And you know when you go into a dealer and you're emotional a little bit, you're like, well, fuck, I already looked at this place, and then I already looked at this place, and it's like, I just want to get over with. I want to fix this situation. So this guy's calling, like telling me, well, you got to call your insurance, and then I was like, well, actually, I called my mortgage, you know, see if I get a second mortgage. I was being a smartass, but he didn't understand what I'm saying because he's like 20 years old. But you know, 20-year-olds don't have mortgages, right? So I was being a smartass, but what I'm thinking is I'll go is get your insurance. So then they're going to start, I don't know exactly what with this one. And all this, again, is speculation. But here's the part that's odd. You know, I'll get mad. I'll want to go talk to the sales manager. They're going to be telling me shit like, man, oh, that's a lot of money. I mean, you know, maybe maybe we can work something out, you know, so you owe us $38,000 and, you know, you owe us $38,000 and, you know, we could probably get you in maybe a 1,500 or, you know, if you want to run your credit, we could get you in a new truck and, you know, we'll take this truck and then even though it has this much in repair, you know, we know some people, we might be able to give you a little bit more money for it. So I'm just wondering if this exorbitant, crazy price to fix this truck was some sort of a little bit of a ploy. There's always the chance it's, you know, because it's New Year's Eve tonight, and then I took it in about a week ago. So there's always a chance the guy's like, fuck, I don't want to mess with this guy's truck, you know, like on Christmas, whatever. But I'm wondering if they gave me like just such an insanely high bill that I would be like, oh, I don't have that money, because they don't know that truck's paid for. You know, a lot of guys who buy those, you know, because I understand the 2,500 I've wanted one since I was in high school. So I put one in my yearbook. I understand, like there's a difference between getting a 25, like a 3/4 ton. It's like you get their diesel, you get the exhaust. I mean, I get it. You know, there's a big, but so they go like, well, you know, maybe we can work out something with our finance team, buy it back from you. So anyway, all I'm saying is I'm wondering if that insane cost of repair was just an attempted buyback. You know, they put in like $5,000. Or something, or at least enough to pass whatever their CPO inspection criteria is, to be like, hey, this truck's for sale. And I could try doing that, but I'm not going to. I'm getting the truck back and driving it. So I covered the guy, and then the last thing, because usually for me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so usually for me to get a little suspicious about something, it takes usually about 3, you know, pretty decent pieces of data. One of my boys came over tonight, we were hanging out, and then I told him that, and he said, hey, they're trying to trap you, that's a buyback. So, again, I stay as far away from dealers as possible. I've thought about flipping cars, but I'm actually working now to get more investment capital so I can, like, if I want to do a shop, I can do some fun stuff out in my backyard, but I want a proper shop with a lift. So at this point in my life, I'm not, you know, quite there yet. So I'm not trying to say I'm an insider with sales and shit like that. But you know, I've seen some pretty dirty stuff, you know, that car dealers do, and you know, it's sort of a similar thing. You know, a car dealer will give you, you'll go in there and you'll be selling a car, and you know, they like I said, they devalue your trade-in. Well, then you go on their website and look, and they are just saying, this is the most amazing car. They offer you like $4,000 for it, and then they want like 10. So anyway, that's all I got to say, but I'm just curious if this has happened to anybody else. You go in there and do a buyback, and then they try to like sweeten out the insane cost of the repair by saying, well, maybe, you know, you could look at something else and shit like that. But that shit ain't happening for me. This truck has been mine for about 6 months. This truck lasted some gentleman, I don't know how, he might have died. I got it at auction, but it's a 27, it's New Year's Eve, it's going to be a 28-year-old truck, roughly. pretty soon to 94. So, you know, I'm not going to let them have my truck like that because it's not nearly as bad as anything 38,000 could be.